We are surrounded by a constant flood of information, promises, stories, and declarations. From the boardroom to the dinner table, we are forced to navigate the complex world of human communication, and beneath it all lies a primal, unsettling fear, the fear of being deceived. This fear can make us cynical, suspicious, and can poison our relationships, forcing us to constantly search for the subtle signs of a lie. Most guides will tell you to look for external cues, shifty eyes, fidgety hands, nervous tics, but these methods are notoriously unreliable and often wrong. The Stoics, as masters of human psychology and logic, proposed a radically different and far more powerful approach. They knew that the smartest way to protect yourself from deception wasn't to become a human lie detector, but to become a master of your own judgment. This video will not teach you how to spot a liar. It will teach you something far more valuable, the 3 Stoic tests for truth. This is a mental framework to calmly assess information and character, protecting you from the harm of deception without losing your own peace of mind. Before we learn these tests, go to the comments and tell me what worries you more, being deceived by someone else or being wrong in your own judgment. Let's begin to sharpen your vision. The Stoic approach begins with a crucial reframing. The ultimate question is not, are they lying? The truth of what is in another person's mind is an external, ultimately outside of your full control. The more intelligent and useful questions are, is this information reliable? And is this person trustworthy? This shifts the focus from a futile attempt to read their mind to a practical assessment you can actually perform. The 3 Stoic tests are your tools for this assessment. Test number 1, the test of inconsistencies, the test of logos. The first test is one of pure reason. Truth is a single, cohesive story. A lie, however, is an invention. It is a fragile structure that must be constantly maintained, and it rarely holds up under the gentle pressure of logic. The Stoics were, above all, logicians who believed that reality itself is governed by reason, or logos. The Stoic method: do this. When you receive a piece of information that feels off, your job is not to accuse, but to inquire. Listen not for nervous tics, but for flaws and inconsistencies within the narrative itself. Calmly and respectfully, ask clarifying questions that probe the logic of their story. Powerful questions include, "That's interesting. Can you walk me through the timeline of that again? Help me understand how that part connects to what you mentioned earlier. I want to make sure I have this right. So, X happened, and then Y happened." An honest person who is drawing from a single source of truth, their memory, will welcome these questions. They will see it as a collaborative effort to ensure clarity. A dishonest person who is trying to manage a complex web of inventions will often become defensive, agitated, or their story will begin to change under scrutiny. You are not a prosecutor cross-examining a witness. You are a calm detective, simply laying the pieces of the puzzle on the table to see if they fit. If they don't, you have your answer, not because you caught them in a lie, but because their narrative failed the test of reason. Test number 2, the test of character, the test of ethos. The second test moves from the statement to the speaker. A single lie, told skillfully, can be difficult to spot, but a pattern of behavior is much harder to fake. As the Emperor Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself, you must always consider the source. Past behavior is the single most reliable predictor of future behavior. The Stoic method: do this. Detach from the emotion of the current situation and put the speaker's character on trial in your mind. Ask yourself a series of objective questions based on past evidence. Historically, has this person proven to be reliable and honest? Do their words generally align with their actions over time? Do they have a known reputation for integrity or for exaggeration, self-interest, and gossip? In this specific situation, what are their known motivations? Do they have something to gain from this information being true or false? This is not a moral judgment, it is a rational risk assessment. If you are dealing with a person of proven virtue and integrity, you can reasonably grant them the benefit of the doubt. Their character speaks for them. If, however, you are dealing with someone who has a documented history of dishonesty, manipulation, or inconsistency, you must demand a much higher burden of proof. Think of it like investing. You wouldn't entrust your life savings to a fund manager with a history of fraud. So why would you invest your trust, your decisions, and your peace of mind in the words of a person with a history of poor character? The test of character provides the context in which to weigh their words. Test number 3, the test of indifference, the test of apatheia. This is the final, most advanced, and most important Stoic test. It is not a test of the other person, but a test applied to yourself. The reason we are so easily deceived is often because we are desperate for something to be true, or terrified of it being false. Our own hopes and fears are the liar's greatest weapons. They cloud our judgment. The Stoic method, do this. Before making a final judgment, you must first neutralize your own emotional investment in the outcome. Identify what you stand to gain or lose if the person is lying or telling the truth. Are you afraid of losing money, a relationship, your reputation, your ego? Now practice the Stoic art of premeditating the negative outcome. Mentally rehearse it. Tell yourself, if they are lying and I lose this deal, I will be disappointed. It will be a setback, but I will endure it. I will learn from it, and I will find another opportunity. My character and my inner peace will remain intact. This act of mentally accepting the worst-case scenario is profoundly liberating. It detaches your tranquility from the outcome. When you are no longer afraid of the answer, your mind becomes incredibly clear and objective. You can analyze the situation with cold logic because your own emotional bias has been removed. The liar's primary tools are your greed, your hope, and your fear. When you achieve a state of rational indifference to the outcome, their tools become useless. You can see their story not through the fog of your own desires, but in the clear light of reason. Think of a judge. A judge who has a personal stake in the outcome of a trial cannot be impartial. To see the truth clearly, you must first become an impartial judge in your own mind by detaching from the verdict. This inner calm and objectivity, apatheia, is your ultimate lie detector. The Stoic way to know if someone is lying is not to become a master of reading facial tics and micro-expressions. It is to become a master of your own mind. It is to refuse to be a passive recipient of information and instead become an active, rational examiner. You achieve this by applying the 3 tests. The test of inconsistencies. Does the story make logical sense? The test of character. Is the source reliable? The test of indifference. Have I removed my own hopes and fears from the equation? This approach doesn't promise 100% accuracy in detecting every lie. Nothing can. But it promises something far more valuable. A method to protect yourself from being harmed by deception, and a path to navigating the world with a clear, calm, and unshakable mind. The truth you should seek is not always in the words of others, but in the clarity of your own judgment. When your inner world is in order, the deceptions of the outer world lose their power to harm you. Now, go back to your comment, deceived or wrong. Reply to it with the word clarity. It is your new goal, not to catch liars, but to see the world with a clear and rational mind. If these Stoic tests have sharpened your vision, subscribe to the channel.